one of the books that I listen to, they have Bubba Shackelford, and Bubba Shackelford's Professional Monster Killers.
Nice!
Yeah.
But let's welcome everybody to Our Love of Comics.
Welcome!
I'm Steve.
And I'm Zach, as
We're
always.
Both, yeah.
We haven't changed yet.
No, I'm thinking about it.
We haven't gotten pruned. Can you imagine that, though? You find $20 on the ground, and then just some people open a magic door, and you just get zapped. No! You're supposed to be poor.
Our Love of Comics is a weekly podcast.
Something like that, yeah.
Where you can see there's also video. There's a green screen here. We're not going to be using it. Yeah. It's just there for looks right now.
We'll figure out what we're going to use it for later.
No, on this one, I don't think we're going to. I'd like to get some new backdrops, like some fabric backdrops for this, to give something a little different, like brick or something. Because behind this, if you want to see, there's green and green. Ooh. Amaze balls.
You know, we can also use for that is if we don't have to do the whole image, like the whole thing up, we could just put an image of whatever we're talking about.
Yeah, we can do that. That's
Galaxy Brain, like my hair when we were doing the unboxing, all the Galaxy Brain.
But Our Love of Comics is a podcast about, well, it says it right there, our love of comic books. Mm-hmm. We have different loves. Similar at times, we cross over quite a bit, but we both have the same hate for a few comics.
Yeah, we liked different stuff, and we kind of wanted to
share that love.
Share the love, and kind of educate a little bit on stuff you might not have read or might not know.
Yeah, and broken down into 3 pieces.
Yeah.
So we're going to, each week, Zach and I will be discussing each a different character, a different issue, and a different story arc, giving you education, information, and insight into everything that we enjoy, comic book-wise, or if we don't enjoy it, why. So, really simple, but before we do, I learned something cool today.
It's not a rash.
Yes, it is.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. No, curable with some prednisone cream. It's fine.
Turns out that's not just the way you look now.
No. No, I found out Lil Nas X survived the snap.
Huh.
Shang-Chi does a karaoke to, what is it, Old Country Road?
Old Town Road?
Yeah, Old Town Road. Which happens in 2019. The snap happened in 2018.
Oh.
So, well, does it in current, so 2023. Mm-hmm. But the song was made in 2019. The snap happened in 2018. So Lil Nas X survived the snap. And it blew his mind. He tweeted about it.
I want a list of like notable people who did and didn't, like who got dusted and stuff. Like,
you know who sadly got dusted?
Huh.
Ned.
Yeah. But like, I wonder like.
But he came back, so that's good.
But like, since because it was on the it was in the comics we were talking about earlier. Like, because in Marvel Comics in like what Deadpool 19 during King in Black, he tried to get the Wu-Tang Clan to help him defend Staten Island from all the symbiotes and everything. Did they get snapped? Who got snapped? Who didn't?
Yeah, right.
We talk about the superheroes.
It's very strange.
Yeah.
But that is a little bit of a tangent, but we have to on these things.
We're allowed
little
to.
Information. Yeah, we're allowed to.
That's the fun part.
Because we don't have a time constraint, and we're also not focused on a single thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we have segments, but it's fun.
And segues.
No, I think the company went out of business.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Mall cops are going to be crying everywhere.
Nah, they have hoverboards now.
Oh, God. Those things blow up more than the Segways do. Paul Blart Mall Cop 8, and he's just on an actual hoverboard. It's Back to the Future crossover.
But we could start if we wanted to.
Well, should you start or should I?
You know what? Why don't you start?
Okay.
I usually take the lead on a lot of things.
Did we want to do character, issue, or storyline first?
Let's start with character.
Okay, if I'm remembering correctly, since we planned this a little earlier and then had a mishap on starting, I picked Cyclops, if I remember correctly.
You did pick Cyclops.
Okay. Cyclops, Scott Summers, the most of the time leader, former ward of Charles Xavier, and overall kind of mutant extremist. I really I think the reason why I wanted to pick this is because pick him overall is the main thing that a lot of people don't know and has been expounded upon and changed a little bit is depending on the continuity and what's been going on, the reason why he needs the glasses, the ruby tinted lenses or the visor and everything. Originally when it happened, the reason why he needed it overall is because he got into a car accident.
Right.
And it hurt something in his brain, and he wouldn't be able to control it. So when he hit 13, he almost, and this is something I didn't fully know until I did the research, he was by a construction yard and almost killed some of his bullies because he had hit the, if I remember correctly, it was a wrecking ball. And then by turning with the beam, he managed to cut the chain and drop it before it killed them. But going through a little bit more as it goes on, and in the Grant Morrison New X-Men run, the one that I so hate that I'm collecting at this point.
Everyone hates the series.
Everyone either loves it or loves the fact that they want to charge extra money for it. I'm not angry at all. But you learn when he's doing his air quotes therapy sessions with Emma Frost. If I remember, yeah, right?
Yeah.
White Queen? Okay. I blanked for some reason. He's doing therapy sessions, air quotes, with her, and she confronts him with something. What if the reason why that you can't actually control it isn't a brain thing, a physical brain thing? What if all the trauma and all the events and everything like that, what if it's just a mental block? And he actually agrees that he had realized that a long time ago, but he never wanted to confront it. Overall, that he was weak enough to let his own mind hold himself back from things. And so finally, after that, the next issue, you see him full, no beams, no glasses, no nothing. It's all good.
Interesting.
Yeah.
The fact that they started off with brain damage.
Yeah, actual brain damage.
Is unique in itself in comic books.
Yeah.
But not just that, brain damage also then moved on to essentially PTSD.
All the trauma had built up and he just had a blockade in his mind that he needed to get rid of.
But PTSD, it's not something, now in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's something they touch on very well, specifically in Endgame.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I think the one that they do the best job with, Iron Man 3.
That too, yeah.
Iron Man 3 is a fantastic representation of true PTSD and doubt because it's Tony Stark, not he. But Tony Stark is no longer the hero he was because of the psychological trauma that he went through.
Yeah, going through the portal and almost dying like that.
Yeah.
And that.
Iron Man 2?
2 and 3.
Yeah. He deals with all of that. And then the fallout of Sokovia and the coming to terms with the death of his parents and why and etc. It harkens really well, but it's not something that's done in comics all that often.
No, and they reference it a little bit in the new Dawn of X and Reign of X and everything like that, with the mutants that you can choose what memories you come back with. You can have them removed and stuff like that. And it was a thing with Domino that she'd gotten experimented on, she'd gotten captured, and a bunch of torture, her skin had gotten removed and stuff to do grafts onto people so they could go in and kill Professor X. She had chosen to get rid of that overall, just to not have to remember that pain, even though what it might do to change who she is and stuff like that.
How is she immune? She doesn't have any powers. Luck's not a power.
It's totally not cinematic in any way. But yeah, they don't talk about it that often.
Yeah.
I will agree with that.
There's another character that actually happens to as well. Spider-Woman, who is the character I'm talking about. So Spider-Woman was born in the 40s in London. But she had a disease. Her father cured it using spider venom and other DNA manipulations in his research facility. And she was put into hibernation. Not a lot of people know that. And also the fact that she is that old.
Yeah.
But her father worked for Hydra. It was a Hydra research facility. And when she finally became an adult, in her first appearance, which, by the way, is Marvel Spotlight 32, she was an agent of Hydra and actually went to kill Nick Fury in that one.
Interesting.
Which is why he's on the cover.
Interesting.
Yeah.
She has gone back and forth on that before, but as a double agent eventually.
Well, she ended up losing most of her memory of everything that happened because of the trauma of both the disease and getting in hibernation and finding out that her father worked for Hydra and all of these. And so Hydra uses that against her and makes her an agent for him by telling her essentially that she always was.
Huh.
And then she figures it out, of course, and then becomes the hero that she becomes, which not a lot of people realize. She's not just a knockoff of Spider-Man like everybody thinks, like just a female version. Mm-hmm. Number one, unlike Spider-Man, her hands and feet secrete actual spider, essentially glue, that allows her to climb up everything.
Huh.
And she has venom blasts from her hands, she builds up bioelectricity and can shoot them out. And it used to be, before she learned how to use her powers, and Hydra helped her a little bit, it would take about a day to build up enough charge to do a venom blast. And then after that, once she learned more, she can do it within a couple of minutes of having shot out a couple of times. And of course, shooting web and doing all of those other things, gliding like a spider can.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's one of those that, trauma played heavily into her character. And she has another power that's not often utilized. Pheromones.
Interesting.
She can make you love her or be revolted by her at her will.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Fun fact that most people might know, another character that shares that power is Daken, Wolverine's son.
Interesting.
Yeah.
They probably stole it from her. Like, if I don't know Daken, band, Daken character. But it wouldn't surprise me to find out that they used her blood because, I mean, if you're reading the current Spider-Man or the Spider-Woman run, they re-poisoned Jessica in order to get a cure for one of the quasi-villain's daughters. Yeah. And so it was killing her. Her disease was killing her again, which is why she was vomiting acid.
Interesting.
Yeah, DNA manipulation based on radiation with multiple DNAs from spiders. So they extracted the cure from her, and it essentially started to kill her. And we saw in that book as well that she went evil for a little while as well. And Captain Marvel kind of said, "Do it again, and I'll beat the shit out of you."
Yeah.
Like, I will fucking end you.
Yeah.
Knock it off.
Welcome to Pound Town.
Yeah.
Not fun time.
Population U.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see her sliding back and forth, but she's a more complex character than most people realize. Mm-hmm. And Cyclops, he's not a complex character, but he's a deep character.
He's got
layers. I mean,
he's like an ogre. He's got layers.
Yeah.
And an onion.
But you realize who his child is.
Oh yeah, you got alternate universe, like future timeline Nate Summer, Cable.
Who his brother is.
Depending on how you want to do it, Strife, and then you have Nate Gray himself, also the X-Man, who is basically Cable if he didn't have to use the power.
Oh no, I'm talking Scott's brother.
Oh, Scott's brother, Havoc.
Yeah.
And Vulcan and Adam X.
Yeah. So he's
Adam
not
X being the edgy '90s one who could, if he got your blood to hit open air, he could ignite your blood on fire. some shit.
He's an emo edgelord.
No, he's shirtless. Emos wear clothes.
He's not a complex character. It's easy to figure him out, but he's a deep character.
Yeah,
there's a lot to unpack with him.
Yeah, because you've got
and I know he's not a beloved character. Like a lot of people, Cyclops is a bitch. Cyclops is this. Cyclops is that.
Cyclops is basically the cop narc of the world, and it's like, no, man, you gotta remember that he's been being written since when the X-Men first had came out. He's had so much shit done to him. He's been
a patsy for Professor X.
Yeah, he's
been a victim of Magneto how many times?
Yeah, he's gotten just in his love life of getting shit on and everything. Gets really good with Jean Grey, finally gets everything going. Then she goes Phoenix, goes insane, eats an entire sun and destroys 1 billion people, kills herself so she doesn't continue to do stuff like that. Then he
quits the X-Men at that point.
He quits the X-Men. He comes back and then he meets Madeline Pryor, the Goblin Queen, the soon-to-be Goblin Queen. Then it turns out that wasn't Jean Grey who died. That was just the Phoenix using her body as a clone shell thing, had taken her likeness rights or some shit. And then it turns out it was the Phoenix can still go to Jean Grey. She kills herself again Jean Grey goes, I know you cheated on me with Emma Frost, but I've never seen you more alive. Please be with her. And then he's like, I don't think I'm going to do the X-Men or anything. And then Jean Grey again appears, this time from an alternate reality in the future, and goes, no. You need to, or else this bad stuff happens. Then the freaking, all the stuff with, like, Avengers versus X-Men, where every time that the Avengers never come to help the X-Men with their problems, but every time it's a thing that might be a problem to anybody else, the Avengers come in and he's already pissed off. Then he ends up killing Charles Xavier because he goes Dark Phoenix for a second. Lets himself get willingly locked up to atone for his crimes that he did not fully have the ability to not do, because it's well known that if you go Dark Phoenix, you're really not in control of your actions.
Yeah.
And then it's just out of that, starts his own school. The Avengers versus Inhumans happens because they're trying to kill the X-Men off.
You can kind of
Fox.
understand.
Movies.
Yeah. Marvel had a real beef with Fox. They were trying to tank the value of Fox Marvel properties so they could buy them back, which, guess what? We can't buy the properties back. We'll just buy you for an insane amount of money.
Yeah.
And it's going to happen with Sony as well.
Yeah.
But it seems like they have a better relationship with Sony, so not as bad.
Yeah. And then you have I was saying with X-Men versus Inhumans, you get a way more radical Scott Summers, but it turns out when they first went to Muir Island, home of former home of Proteus and Moira McTaggart, fun facts. It turns out, you learn towards the very end, Scott died on the island. He was not alive for the rest of the event, the rest of everything. Emma Frost made a psychic projection of him and uses him to act in the way that she thought Scott Summers would act. Finally gets resurrected towards the end using some Phoenix energy, if I'm remembering everything correctly, only to gain Phoenix powers again, die in Secret Wars, and be resurrected with the rest of everything. And now we have current continuity overall since the end of Secret Wars. He's had so much shit happen to him, and everyone's just like, narc. It's like, yeah, he's I wouldn't say milk drinker, but maybe he's like Sprite over Coke. But he's not he puts mutantdom over everything else, and I don't think a lot of people remember that. He has a very well-defined goal.
Yeah. But it's interesting to see that these characters are a lot more...
A lot of people
bigger.
They don't do the deep dives.
Yeah.
They don't really...
I mean, you're a big X-Men fan. And I know you're not a Cyclops fan, per se.
No, not honestly, not that much, but I appreciate what he's done.
Doesn't scratch an itch of character love.
Yeah.
But he's an interesting character.
Yeah.
And gets a lot more shit than he really should.
Oh, no, most definitely.
Yeah. Most people forget that Spider-Woman exists until you walk into a comic shop where somebody loves Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
Because, hello, it's not one of those characters that really plays a huge part in any universe. I mean, she's played parts, but she's never been majorly involved in anything.
Really, the main, if I'm remembering correctly, the main one that she was a big figurehead for and everything? Mm-hmm. Can you guess off the top of your head?
Hit me.
Secret Invasion. She got replaced, and the person who had been acting as Jessica Drew, the Spider-Woman, was Queen Verenke of the Skrulls.
Yep.
Been for the longest time.
Well, she was also big in Age of X, where that one's interesting. So she was a member of the Avengers. She's been a member of the Avengers, but they were mutant hunters working for General Frank Castle.
Mm-hmm.
So
that was an interesting, weird world thing that happened overall. Ugh.
And her codename was Redback. Seems kind of racist.
That's a little weird.
Yeah. But she's one of the top killers of mutants in that world. So she has played major parts, but she's also had tragedy in her life as well, like in personal tragedy. In one of them, so for a time she loses her power and she gets it back, but in one world she doesn't. And she gets married, has a child. The child gets afflicted by the same disease that Jessica suffered and dies. And her husband blames her for the death.
Oof.
Yeah. Or Doesn't die. Blames her for his health because he's got a crippling illness. She tried using the same genetic treatments her father gave him, and he incubated the same way she did. But her husband left her, divorced her, like the whole 9 yards. Like it's not great. But then, like, the kid grows up and becomes an alternate version of Spider-Man. So
It's pretty cool, though.
yeah. So they're deeper than what most people think.
Yeah.
And if you really go into the history of these characters, you can find things that are really relatable. And that's one of the things that I do love about specifically Marvel characters is they've been going on for so long that you get really deep stories because more often than not they get a series based on them.
Yeah, like a 6-issue once in a while.
And so we're able to dive deep into them. And we do get a lot more alternate reality stories
Oh, yeah.
in Marvel than we do in DC.
Yeah, they haven't done an Elseworlds story in a while, honestly.
Yeah, about 7 years.
Something like that. What was the last one?
I mean, technically, Reptilian, Batman Reptilianism, technically.
I wouldn't... No, because, like... I wouldn't
The future
say,
state was technically...
I wouldn't say so, because like the future state was advertised as a possible look in the future.
Yeah.
I'm talking like Elseworlds, like...
That's why I'm saying, like, they're technical, like, alternate realities, but they're really not.
Yeah, and Batman Reptilian is just basically like... You could see that as a side story. Like, I could see that as a Batman adventure. But, like, towards the end, it's just an alternate reality, but not like the Elseworlds style. Like, Elseworlds style, like the story Cal, where Superman just lands in, like, Camelot era.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, or the one where he's in the Civil War. Stuff like that, where it's a major shakeup, not just like a new villain or slight reimagining.
Right. Now, there is something cool about Spider-Woman that she could be brought into the MCU very easily.
Ooh.
Since MCU is based on what universe?
The Ultimate Universe.
Did you know in the Ultimate Universe that Spider-Woman for a while was Black Widow?
If you want to go deep dive into it, she actually was a female genetic clone of Peter Parker with all of his memories. They kind of talk and everything gets a little weird, and then she ends up becoming the Black Widow.
Yeah. But interesting. And in that universe, she could shoot the spiderwebbing from her fingertips.
Oh, kind of like Silk.
Yeah.
Weird.
So, well, that plays heavily into some other characters later on, so heavy influence on there. And Silk and Spider-Woman actually do cross over in paths in certain storylines and arcs.
Yeah, the Spider-Woman arc that happened right after Spider-Verse.
Also in Earth 365.
Earth 365?
Earth 65.
Oh, okay.
When Spider-Gwen's interdimensional transporter is stolen by Jessica's male counterpart from that universe. Jesse Drew, a male. So has to work with Silk and do, Marvel stuff. It's a great way to say what it is.
Marvel stuff. I'm gonna edit this video and just use Marvel stuff.
But those are characters. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. Norse Comics and More, Wyoming's largest comic book store. Join us every Wednesday for New Comic Book Wednesday. Peruse our large selection of graphic novels and more. A large selection of kids' comic books available for your little ones. And the largest selection of back issues in the state. And the largest selection of Pop Funkos in town. See us at 304 North Center Street or call us at 307-776-9074. Norse Comics and More. We're back.
Oh,
no. Yeah.
Whatever we'll be.
We're back. We're mad. I'm sad. I don't know.
That's Amelia.
We're filming. Okay.
Thank you, Amelia. You're so polite, giving us gifts and joining us in our recording.
Yes, I do. I do got this. Right.
You're a silly girl.
Very silly.
But Zach and Pop Pop have to record. So you better go see where Jam Jam is.
She's like Captain America. If he didn't know how to throw the shield.
Shut that all the way. All the way. Good watching her.
I went to go get a crap. Come on, let's go. I got your glasses.
Fist bump.
It's your puppy glasses.
This is making it into the podcast, so you're going to be on podcast.
Just cuz. We gotta keep Amelia in. She's the mascot. Kind of like the Denver Broncos and Big Macs.
Now go. Gotta fly. Let's go. Come on, so they can do the thing. Let's go. Come on, let's go. I'll hold you after we close the door, okay?
And we're back.
We're double back.
Back again.
Back twice in the New York groove.
Yeah. So, we've talked about our characters. Now we've got story or issues.
Do you want to start on the issues?
You know what? I will. My issue of choice this week is actually one of my favorites. Amazing Spider-Man 347. Art by Eric Larson. Yes. Venom has decided that the only way that he can kill Spider-Man is to take him to a deserted island and murder him there. So he knocks out Peter Parker, takes him to an island which is not at the time but is known later on as Venom Island. So it's the first appearance of Venom Island, and proceeds to attempt to kill Spider-Man there. During the course of it, he throws vehicles and everything at Spider-Man.
Does he import the vehicles over there?
No, they're old, abandoned vehicles.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like the land bridge theory of how people got to America,
No,
right?
it just was an abandoned island.
Oh.
Yeah. Like World War II vehicles.
Oh, okay. I'm like, who put a Corvette there?
Mark Hamill
Probably.
from Corvette Summer.
Yeah.
It got stolen, it got put there. But he gets away. Spider-Man, of course, does, because we still have Spider-Man going on now.
Or it's the clone.
No, that's next week.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the next issue of Spider-Man. We start getting Scarlet Spider again. It'll be interesting.
He's not so scarlet this time. They've decided to cut out the sleeveless sweatshirt.
Yeah, he's a little upgraded.
A little bit more round.
Yeah. A little bit. But we'll go down through everything that happens. So characters that are in this one are Mary Jane Watson, Parker, because they're married at the time, Flash Thompson, Felicia Hardy, and May Parker. Venom's in it as well. Other characters that are in it. Stephen King is in this issue.
Really?
Mentioned, not in there. So,
Now you're just out, now
as
you're
a
just
topical
outshining me.
reference.
Yeah, now you're just outshining me a little bit.
But he wakes on Spider-Man awakens on the tropical beach, abandoned. And Venom doesn't want any interruptions to the battle, so he has taken him here. Battle ensues, blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes. Back and forth. The way Spider-Man gets away. Spoilers, because this book came out in the early 90s, so actually I believe its release date was May 91.
Dang.
Yeah. So if you haven't read it, spoilers. But Spider-Man takes his suit off, puts it on skeletal remains that are on the island, and hides. Venom throws a tank or a car or a jeep, one of the three. I can't, like, memories.
Some sort of vehicle.
Yeah, throws a vehicle, it explodes. He looks under the vehicle and sees the charred remains of Spider-Man, lifts up the head, the skull of Spider-Man with the mask still on there but ripped. Oh, Spider-Man, he died well. Then Venom retracts, and Eddie Brock and Venom decide that they are going to stay on the island away from humanity and live out the rest of their life there. Doesn't appear again until Carnage, actually.
Yeah. Because what, doesn't he go back to the island and go, hey, help me kill the red guy, or help me stop the red guy?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But that's where he stays, and, thinks that he has done well and has killed Spider-Man, his arch nemesis, because Eddie Brock is a terrible writer.
Yeah, terrible journalist.
Yeah.
Very terrible. My main question is, it's going to be a really forward question. Why does he think Spider-Man's, flesh, skin and flesh immediately melt off?
It was a big explosion.
Still! It's because he's all brawn and no brain, or else he'd be a good reporter!
Exactly!
Oh, we
know that Brock isn't a good reporter. He's not intelligent.
We've solved the mystery.
I think J. Jonah Jameson did. No, but it's always had a soft spot in my heart. This book has always been one of my favorites.
It's a good cover.
Oh, it's a great cover. Cover-wise, it's top one. It's my number one cover of all time, followed by Amazing Spider-Man 346, just because of how cool that cover is. So this cover has Venom holding up Spider-Man's skull. The previous one is Spider-Man's reflection in Venom's eyes. And so I've always had a soft spot for the rivalry between the two. I'm not a lover of the Venom character, but his arcs with Spider-Man have always been good. I've always enjoyed those. Mm-hmm. And then your issue?
If I'm remembering correctly, given the fact that we had done our research a little bit earlier, I think I picked All-Star Superman #1.
You did?
And the two that I can remember off the top, if I'm remembering correctly, the writer is Grant Morrison, and the artist and cover artist is Frank Quietly. Because Superman kind of looks puffy.
Well, let's take a look.
Let's see. Ooh. So I always have this weird affinity for Quietly and Morrison, I guess.
Grant Morrison, Frank Quietly.
Hey!
Good job. Came out January 2006.
So, can you guess the reason why I picked this one overall? This issue, entirely. If I could pick the whole run of All-Star Superman as my single issue, I would, overall. But, what do you think? Why?
Different Superman?
You get a fallible Superman, a more human Superman in this. And also, in my opinion, the best origin for Superman again, because they wanted to, I'm guessing Grant Morrison wanted to refresh everybody up on who Superman was, and does it in 4 panels. If I remember correctly, the first panel says Doomed Planet. Second one says Concerned Scientists or something like that, or loving family. And then it basically Doomed Planet, Loving Scientists, Safe Planet, Loving Family, something like that.
Okay.
More or less, yeah. In 4 panels, the entirety of Superman's origin in one go. I've never seen it done ever again. I don't read that much Superman. But in the overall, for everything, you get... Frank Quietly is a little bit very divisive artist.
Yeah.
I'll say. Depending on how puffy he draws everybody, like a puffy down jacket. But the art's always stuck with me as pretty good. Grant Morrison is a really good writer overall on what they do. And it's a fallible Superman. Superman makes mistakes in this. Superman gets messed up. Superman almost dies in the entire run. But in the first one, it's just kind of Superman doing his Supermanly best, the best he can, which is not necessarily the best somebody can do, more or less.
He doesn't know who he is.
I mean, it's a Superman who is already well set up. He's already done, he's done his big things. But if I'm also remembering correctly, it's been a while since I read the graphic novel. Overall, I think it's been about 2-ish years. If I remember correctly, for a quick synopsis of the entire story, Lex Luthor is out of jail on a contract to work with the U.S. government. He is using a VR headset. You learn that after you see a space station that is in the sun itself is starting to fall in. A guy is realizing he has a genetic bomb and is starting to expand and getting ready to explode. Superman comes in, throws him out, takes the ship out. And turns out Luthor was controlling the guy who was basically Manchurian candidated into being a super bomb. Superman right after is at Star Labs testing out his strength like he normally does and making sure he's still like healthy and everything. And he's exerting way more power than he's ever had before. He's stronger, he is more durable, and everything. It's because when he went inside the sun, he has gotten a fatal dose of solar radiation and his cells are actually starting to explode. So he's learning that he's going to die. He then gets met by two, I do believe, time travelers? Or it might be, two time travelers. I think it's Hercules and somebody else or something like that.
I think so, because I have watched the movie.
And that's really faithful,
Yeah,
honestly.
I haven't read the books, but I have watched the movie.
He gets met with two time travelers who talk about how they're sad to see Superman, that Superman is dying, but that he still has his 12 Herculean efforts that he must do. Or they challenge him for a date with Lois Lane. Or like take Lois Lane's hand in marriage. To 12 Herculean efforts. And more or less the story ends after that, like for that issue. But it's so good. You get Superman doing like stuff like you meet, they make a hole into another reality. And it's the Underverse or something like that. And it turns out in this storyline, that's where all the Bizarros are. It's a whole Bizarro planet. And then you find the Bizarro of the Bizarros, Z-Barro, who is smart. And he wishes to leave, but Superman can't use his powers because there's no sun. And it's draining him of his energy. So they end up making a rocket and shooting him out. But the
Nice.
rocket can't take both of them. So Superman leaves and promises to come back for Z-Barro. You get Superman getting exposed to black kryptonite and going evil. You get a whole bunch of cool stuff that's just really fun. And you get the thing that's occasionally popped up again and again in the story and in storylines. I do believe you get the first appearance of a Sun Eater in this one.
Nice.
I might be wrong. I'm not nearly as good with DC as I am with Marvel. But
Well,
just the concept of a creature that just annihilates the sun, just slowly eats it.
Well, here's the thing. A fallible Superman is a good Superman story. I think everybody can agree on that one. Like anytime you get a Superman who's not perfect, it goes back to Shrek. When he's an onion.
Yeah, you have to have layers. You can't just have...
He's not the eternal Boy Scout.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being the good guy.
Yeah. And one of the things to appreciate about Superman, a lot of people don't know, if you read Final Crisis or something like that, they technically don't lose when they finish everything, and then you have the last issue or two, but they don't technically win. Darkseid controls the entire Earth, the entire galaxy. He gets the anti-life equation. Everything's wrong, everything's messed up, and the only thing that can save everybody is Superman, tirelessly working on a machine that he's only seen once.
Yeah. But it's interesting to have those, and it means something to you. Obviously it does, with how passionate you are about it.
Yeah.
So it means something.
I was going to say, because how many times have I yelled at you that you just need to read that book and you would appreciate Superman a little bit more?
How many times have I yelled at you to read ASM 347?
Never, because it took you forever to get that book, and I don't think you want me to touch it.
No. But I've said read it.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Just not my copy. But, no, it's just... They're stories that matter to us, and we talk about them because they're a story that shaped who we are as a comic fan, a comic collector, an aficionado, if you will.
Yeah.
But they're stories that mean something to us, and not stories that are inherently valuable or inherently important to the overall character. They're just important to us.
Yeah, because All-Star Superman is not in continuity.
No.
Thank God, because at the very end of the issue, or at the very end of the series, you learn that Superman's stuck in, Superman's gone. He's inside the sun fixing it. Well, they think he died going into the sun to reignite it, using the last bit of his solar energy and everything. But you get a little zoom in, and there's Superman just working on the sun and setting stuff up. It's really cool.
But it mattered.
Yeah.
And that's the crux of comic books.
Yeah. It's not everyone's going to like everything.
No.
As long as it matters to somebody.
Yeah, it matters to you. If it made a difference to you, the writer did their job. They touched your heart, your mind in some way that left an impression. And not every comic can do that
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah, you're not going to pick up a random issue of Spider-Man and go, I want to be a scientist.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like, but there might be. There might be one that teaches you an important lesson.
Or that being wrong is okay.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with messing up.
Yeah. Just learn from it.
Yeah.
Be a better person based on what you do.
Yeah.
It's a good life lesson to know anyway.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll take another break, and then we'll be right back with Norse Comics and More, Wyoming's largest comic book store. Join us every Wednesday for New Comic Book Wednesday. Peruse our large selection of graphic novels and more. A large selection of kids' comic books available for your little ones. And the largest selection of back issues in the state. And the largest selection of Pop Funkos in town. See us at 304 North Center Street or call us at 307-776-9074. Norse Comics and More. And we're back. Do you want to start with your
Story arc? So, without naming the name of the story arc immediately, I want to talk about a story arc, like a little mini comic event, out of continuity, in continuity, who fully knows? Probably not in continuity, honestly. But a storyline where the main character doesn't necessarily win, where he doesn't actually... He thinks he does, but we as the reader know that he does not. And in that one, I wanted to talk about Batman The Long Halloween.
Okay.
On just surface level stuff, the art is pretty good. It's not amazingly fantastic, and someone's going to yell at me for this. But one of my favorite things is all the fun covers. You've got like Solomon Grundy on, I think, Thanksgiving. You've got like the Joker in the Christmas issue. You've got all sorts of fun stuff. The covers are nice, great. Jeff Loeb does a pretty good job, does a great job writing. But in this one, you get the first team up of, at least in their universe, Harvey Dent, Commissioner Gordon, and Batman.
Interesting.
You get the start of him being Two-Face, but you get, more importantly, if I'm remembering correctly, what they call him, the Calendar Killer. Somebody who's been killing mobsters and other ne'er-do-wells, mainly mobsters, during holidays. Christmas, Valentine's Day, stuff like that. And through a long, drawn-out process, you even had Wizards Magazine trying to report who they thought. They did a poll, they did everything of who everyone thought the actual Calendar Killer was. And until the very last issue, it wasn't revealed who it was. Do you know who it was?
I actually don't. I've never read it. And I know that the Long Halloween movie is different.
Really? I haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched that one. I've watched Hush, which was cool.
Yeah, that one was really good. It was actually Harvey Dent's wife. You find out in the very last couple of pages. She somebody picks up all the stuff. She walks over to an incinerator, throws it all in, and it's revealed that it was I think her name's Glinda Dent is the holiday killer. So truly, Batman didn't actually win. It just entirely. And you get some great shade from Calendar Man and everything in it. It's just fun. If you haven't been able to read it, you should. It's great. And also, there's supposed to be an annual or something like that coming up for it here soon.
Nice. Anything else important or anything about that one?
It's really, honestly, it's fun. It's...
How many issues?
12 to my knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah. 12 with good covers. You've got, the iconic Halloween, if I remember correctly, the Halloween cover with the jack-o'-lantern and the black cat sitting next to it.
Nice.
But not like a Catwoman ripoff, just an actual black cat.
Well, mine is actually one of my biggest problems in comics as well.
Ooh.
And that's long events. And this one is one of the longest.
I was just say, I don't know if it's necessarily it in of itself is not necessarily super long, considering if you consider the fact that it went through like every tie-in
Well,
comic.
mine's Nightfall, which also included Night Quest and Night's End.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you just do Nightfall itself, it's only like 22 issues.
But it ran from May 93 to September 94. It was a long, arduous crossover event to get back to everything's done. But it's cool at times.
Yeah.
Because in this one, it starts off with Bane releasing maximum security criminals from Arkham Asylum into Gotham City, like flooding Gotham with the worst of the worst.
And isn't this the first appearance of Bane overall, Morrison?
Yes.
Ooh.
And Batman is having to stop them, including Joker and Scarecrow. And each time he's getting more tired and more worn down physically and mentally from taking down everybody all the time.
Yeah, because isn't he basically just doing it like straight, no rest, no nothing,
Yes.
just trying to contain everything as fast as possible?
Yep, I'm Gotham's savior, and my complex is going to be the death of me. And it almost is in this one, because this is where Bane deduces who Batman is, gets him at Wayne Manor, and breaks his back.
Just breaks him down and
Yeah.
breaks the bat.
Yeah, takes him over his knee, cracks his back completely, severs his spine. Like, crippled him.
A fun fact, do you know how, if my memory is serving me right, do you remember how Bane deduces who Batman is?
Through behaviors.
Through, if I remember correctly, his chin line and a way that they both say something.
But because Batman can't be Batman, he wants a replacement. Now, Tim Drake wants Dick Grayson to take over the cowl because he was the original Robin, of course. He's done the job the longest of anybody and already become Nightwing.
Yeah, he's the obvious choice.
Yeah. Batman thinks that Dick Grayson, without speaking with him, wouldn't want to take it over. So he gets with Azrael, a very a pious man, if you will.
You know, with the Order of Saint Dumas, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Who, if I remember correctly, are assassins?
Yes. To be the new Batman, but tells him no killing. And Azrael's thing is to use the sword of Azrael to kill.
Yeah, he just hears killing, and he's like, gotcha, boss.
Dick Grayson is also upset because he would have done it because of his respect for Bruce. So the whole story and everything that goes on, and the reason that Batman has to push himself so Bruce has to push himself in order to fix himself, is to take down Azrael because he's as bad as the criminals.
Yeah, he's killing everybody. He's going insane. He makes probably the worst looking Batman suit, and that's considering the rainbow Batman suits.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But he pushes hard.
90s edgy Batman, though. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But he pushes really hard to get together. You know, with Alfred's help, to rehabilitate.
And to will his spine diffuse back together.
Yeah. During the time, Tim Drake's like, do you even need a sidekick? I'm just going to move on. He's like, no, stay with me. I'll be back. This is temporary. But had he just let Dick Grayson take over, we wouldn't have Nightwing.
Yeah.
We would have Batman.
Yeah, we wouldn't have Azrael, DC's Moon Knight.
Yeah. Moon Knight, Marvel's Batman.
No, it's like
It's a recursive algorithm.
If home, find home.
Yeah. But, interesting story. But I was really upset about this one because of how long it took to get to where it was going. Everything was tied into one another. Every Bat family story had to deal with this. So if you wanted the full story, you had to pick up every issue. You're talking 15 months of collecting a single storyline.
Yeah, I could not. We had so much trouble, we had so much pain and, torture from death metal being, 7 weeks? Or 7 months?
7 months.
7 months?
And it was because it was once a month.
Because it was once a month, but you got, every other...
2 tie-ins a month.
Yeah, you got every other week it was a tie-in or something or a handbook. And please, explain to me, for the love of God, why do you release a handbook for an event halfway or most of the way through it?
Yeah.
And Marvel DC
Now, there
don't
wasn't
do
a
that.
handbook for Nightfall.
Yeah.
It just happened. But all of the books had the bat emblem with Nightfall, Night Quest,
Night's End.
Night's End.
Yeah.
So you had all of that. But it just lasted too long. I mean, cool story. Like,
Yeah.
not going to lie, it was a really good story. But it was so long, it actually burnt me out on comic books. And I got out of collecting at that time because this was one of the main reasons why.
Yes, what was that?
It was this one. It was
Death of
Funeral for a Friend
Yeah, Death of Superman and A Funeral for a Friend.
and Image.
Yeah, Image and Spider-Man going 3 times a month?
Bi-monthly, and then crossing
bi-monthly.
over with every other Spider book.
Yeah.
So it was like 5 Spider books a month, plus all the Batman books, plus all of the Nightfall book, or all of the Death of Superman books, and inconsistent releases or poor releases from Image. Because
Yeah.
I hated most of the Image books, and I got burnt out on some of them very fast.
Yeah, and the ones that you really wanted to read just took forever to come out.
Yeah. And so you put all of that together, and it was a perfect storm between 92 and 94, where a lot of people my age got out of collecting. I mean, we also found the love of girls.
Not a good enough excuse.
No, I'm saying we also found.
Yeah.
But we were coming of age at that time and being inundated with too many books that, dude, I was 16, 17, 18 years old with some of these. You're not making a lot of money.
No.
So buying 15, 20 books a month is impossible.
Yeah.
You know, at that time, for someone of my age, earning what I was making $4.25 an hour, working 15 hours a week. I could afford 10 books a week if I really tried. And, you know, for somebody that age, because I didn't have, you know, an allowance, I didn't have a family that supported my comic habit. So it was my money going into it. Yeah. And I'm a hoarder, so I never sell a book.
Yeah.
So what was I going to do? Books had to be culled.
Yeah.
And I bought some bad books back then, too, because the covers were fancy, or it fell into the trope of it's a number one, it's going to be worth money.
God, so many issues you find now, like, just to pull off of, like, 1 or 2 that I've seen today, Night Thrasher.
Nightblood, Youngbloods, number one. Bought that.
Youngbloods.
Hated it. But bought it because it was a number one.
The polybagged X-Force number ones.
Yeah. Only one book worth anything.
Yet now, because people went crazy for collector cards for some reason.
Yeah. But that's kind of our show.
Yeah, but, I mean, like, God.
But I hope that, and I know what happened with Batman and Superman during those times. These were responses to Image.
Yeah. You had to have a big flashy event, and also the Superman thing, the Death of Superman, they were also trying to, like, some stuff you can correlate and learn later on.
Yeah.
They were trying to make sure that Lois and Superman didn't get married in the comics before they got married in the TV show. So they had to do some extra stuff. But if we didn't have the Death of Superman, we wouldn't have the biggest, stupidest question ever. Which one is the true Man of Steel for the reign of the Superman? Is it the guy in the big metal suit? Is it the little kid? Is it the only one that would have made sense out of all of them? The only 2.
The Cyborg?
Cyborg and Eradicator.
We need Eradicator back.
Because he actually reappeared in the first couple issues of the newest Superman run.
Nice.
Yeah. He kind of appeared and was like, die. I found another race of people who are like Superman, so I don't need you no more. I'm going to hang out with them. Now I'm going to kill Earth.
Happens.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Our Love of Comics. Until the next episode, I will continue to be Steve.
Unless I find money on the ground and I get pruned, I will probably still be Zach.
All right. So we'll see you for the next episode of Our Love of Comics.